All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the PagerDuty live stream. I'm Mandy Walls, DevOps Advocate, back with you. And it's time for release notes. Yay. Forrest and Jake are back. We're good to go. All right, guys, what's new?
We are back. And we're back with the hats and the zip ups again. I think we
Yeah.
might have missed last round, so my hat is actually a nonprofit, Blue Ribbon Coalition that advocates for open lands. Keeping trails and other accessible lands open. There's a lot of
Oh, that's awesome.
back and forth on that. You can check that out, and we're excited about this release because I will. Sound the horns and throw the flag that Jake has done a really great job and a lot of work around some of these runner enhancements. This is something to continue that praise. Something that he dove into probably about a year ago. Really wanted to take on, and I think he's done a great job with all of these runner enhancements. And this is a big release for him. So with that lead teased a little bit, we'll look at everything not runner related that might be on our release notes here, and then we'll let him take over from there.
Perfect.
So release notes on the documentation site as always. We'll skip past the runner stuff really quick. I usually get the role of apologizing for an issue here and there. If anyone had upgraded to our 5.4 release, there may be some executions missing just from the UI. The data is there. We just had a small bug in the UI that was keeping those a little bit hidden. Your activity is still there if you upgrade to 5.5. They will all definitely come back to you. So the engineering team and the support team wanted to make sure that we highlighted that issue is fixed. There's a few specifics around it, and if anyone is running into that problem, try upgrading to 5.5, or you can, of course, our commercial customers can reach out to our support team. Outside of that, a variety of other bug fixes, and there's continued effort around our migration to Vue. If anyone's following the open source pull requests that go in, you'll see that we're converting quite a bit of areas of the product over to Vue. That is going to open up a lot of future enhancements to the UI. Right, so this details tab is another conversion. Those aren't live. I think there's maybe a few tricky ways to see some of those changes and see the benefits of those changes. But once they're further along, we're going to be introducing a way to check those out.
Great.
So, and then thanks to some of our community contributors. Full transparency, these guys do work for PagerDuty, but they don't work in engineering, right? They out of the goodness of their heart have contributed to the projects, whether it's docs or somewhere else. And we do encourage that. If there's typos or something else that needs to happen in our documentation site or in the core product, we're very much interested in seeing what the community has to offer there.
Awesome.
So that being said, I won't make anyone wait much longer. Jake, do you want me to start from release notes, or do you have something you want to share to talk about?
We can start from release notes. There's a couple of major enhancements that are coming out with this release, and they build on top of a major enhancement that we released with 5.3, which is the project-based runner enhancement. So we'll start actually with the runners as nodes right below there. So this enhancement is geared towards helping customers get started with the product, those who are new to using the product. And that might be the first user of the platform as a whole, or it might be a new team that's coming on board. As we know, Runbook automation tends to get used by more than one team, and each team tends to have their own project. And we want to make the onboarding experience for each team as easy and simple as possible. So we'll demonstrate what that looks like in a minute. And then the next enhancement, the runner to node association, or the as it says here, the automatic runner selection for job execution, makes that next step of using the product easier, and that is creating jobs and creating the job definition and then targeting nodes with that job definition. This enhancement brings an abstraction of runners to the job creators and the job invokers, such that they can focus on the workflow that they want to execute and the nodes that they want to target. So all around trying to bring some ease of use and simplicity, yet actually up-leveling the sophistication of the product. As we'll demonstrate with this enhancement, this allows our users to now target multiple environments with a single job execution, which without a lot of workarounds and hacking, it wasn't something that was really doable in the product prior to this release. So that's the high level, and we can walk through what this actually looks like in the product.
Yeah, excellent.
And hopefully I don't need to update my browser or anything to share my screen.
Nope, there we go.
Oh, yeah, it works on the first try.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that first getting started experience. Again, imagine you're the first time user of the product, or the first time using a given project. So it might be your first RBA project, and so you have nothing in here. And so now, again, with 5.3, we brought in runner management to the project context. So without even leaving the project context, you can go to now manage your team's runners here. And so now when we create a runner, we will call it, say, my first runner. Maybe we'll give it a tag called first. We'll go ahead and download that. And assuming my internet connection is okay, this will only take a couple of seconds. And so just a recap of what this is doing is it's adding a runner to just this project. And so the project admins can manage this runner, and the tooling admin at the system level can manage it through the system level runner management. And it's at that level that the tool admin can say that this runner should also be shared with another project, and can turn it from a dedicated resource runner to a shared resource runner. So that's been downloaded. We can start this up pretty easily, like so. And
obviously, Jake's doing that in the background. We're not seeing him start it up, but he's just started.
Oh, yeah, you didn't see my
downloaded file from the console.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't see my terminal, but I executed a simple command to start up that runner. Now the status changed from new to healthy. So that's all fine and dandy, but what the enhancement brings is this new field here, this new column called enable runner as a node. And what that has done is it's actually added the runner's host as a node to our node inventory. So when we go into our node inventory, we actually see a node called my first runner. And we see it has a special little runner icon next to it. So it tells us that it is a runner node. And now I can select this node and I can run a command against it. And so let's go ahead and do exactly that. So I'm running a command on this runner, and it's through local execution. I didn't need to specify a communication protocol like SSH, because it's just the runner running on its host node. And so now you can see the host name of my computer here. And so just like that, we've been able to, shortcut the getting started experience for new users of the product. Again, that might be first-time users of the whole Runbook automation instance, or it might be new teams that are coming on board, and a prior team or a central automation team is helping onboard those new teams to using the product. And so now with this complete, I can save it as a job. We'll call it my first job. And just like that, right, we've enabled a new user to get automation executing within their environment. And then we can build baby steps upon teaching about bringing nodes into the inventory through node source plugins. We can teach about node executors like SSH and WinRM, and we can teach about key storage and using secrets from secrets management providers. And so the runner as a node construct, again, shortcuts a lot of the onboarding pieces there. I'll pause before moving forward if Mandy or Forrest, you had comments on what we're showing here.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'll speak about, the broader strategy is, looking at onboarding and getting new projects up and running is a big part of driving this, right? We have, admittedly, sometimes a heavily technical product, and a big focus, even, looking farther out into our roadmap, and again, what's driving some of those view upgrades that I mentioned earlier is about the usability and the ease of getting automation up and going. And right, the runner's idea being, a little bit groundbreaking for us, and it's what enables our SaaS offering to really work. And a lot of people don't know, but it was actually driven originally when it was just an enterprise, on-prem product. We were still planning on building this runner dynamic. Right, it can be confusing, and these types of enhancements are what's bringing it closer to, let's just get this up and running, right? We want to see some automation.
Yeah. The other use case for this is for our customers that are using the product and the runners across a landscape of physically distributed locations. And we have a number of customers now in the retail space and food and beverage chains and hospitality or supply chain management, where a lot of their business is based off of these physical locations. And so what they're doing is deploying a runner in each location. And so what the this runners and node mechanic allows those customers to do is say, okay, I just want a runner in each location, and I'm going to then just target that runner. Let's add Austin here for fun. Okay, so now I've got three locations, and now those locations are represented as nodes without me having to do anything extra. And again, I can build my automation to target specific locations based off of node filters, and not again have to take any extra steps. So this runners and node is also really well suited to those customers with physically distributed footprints, and they operate in the physical commerce industries. So for the next enhancement, I'll actually go into a project that's a little bit more built out. And we'll see here, I've got 3 runners that are up and operational. And we now see this other field, this other column that has been added here called node filter. And you'll see a few node filters that have been applied to each of these. And let's actually go into the configuration of one of these. And this enhancement is this remote node dispatch toggle plus the node filter that's associated with it. And what it does is it creates a mapping between a runner and a subset of your node inventory, such that whenever you target one of these nodes, the system implicitly knows which runner to use based off of which nodes are being targeted. So in this case, if I target a node in the US West region, so any of the US West availability zones, the product inherently knows to queue up the tasks for targeting those nodes for my US West runner. And if I go back to my other runners, we see similarly for my US East runner, if I go into node dispatch, I see the US East node filter and my US East nodes. So if we contrast that to where the product was previously, you would declare the runner that you wanted to use, or the runners that could be used for a given job, in the job definition itself. And while this offered a certain level of control and flexibility, so to speak, it required that the job creator and the job invoker learn about the runner mechanic and the runner plumbing, and make sure that they use the same, the right runner for the right target nodes that they want to target with their automation. So what this allows us to do is it actually allows us to abstract away the runner selector from the job definition. And so if we take a look at an example job here for an internal API service check, we'll see now that the nodes tab no longer has a runner selector field, and I can just define my workflow and define the nodes that I want to target. So this is actually very similar to the open source Rundeck project. Makes it easier to migrate from open source to the commercial offering. So with that node filter, I see that I have 7 nodes that I can target, in EU West, US East, and US West. I can deselect or select some of these. And now when I go to run this job, what you'll see is that I'm targeting each of these nodes. And again, the system inherently knows which runner to use based off of which node is being targeted. So in this case, we see my EU West I1, I2 are using the EU West runner, and my US East instances are using the US East runner, and so on and so forth. And this goes back to the being able to handle more complicated or sophisticated workflows. Is I can target multiple environments with a single job invocation, whereas previously it would require multiple invocations, or you had to use reference jobs, and it was, again, a very complex, convoluted process for getting all of that set up. And so I can, I can target all these very, very simply. And again, it gets back to being able to make it easier for users to create their workflows and then target the environments that they want to target.
So do you envision that having like one runner per physical location, or can nodes be assigned to multiple runners inside their location?
Good question. So technically, as of today, a node can be mapped to multiple runners, and that can provide a mechanism for some high availability and horizontal scalability. And in the near future, we look to formalize a mechanic of bringing horizontal scalability and redundancy to a single runner, such that you don't need to define a mapping of multiple runners to a given node or set of nodes, and make sure that those 2 runners are identically configured. And we can make that, achieving that, much easier.
Awesome.
That's a great question. So we didn't even tee you up for that one, and that like totally coming in the future.
Excellent teasing. All right.
That shows you're in line with where our customers want us to go as well, and that's why we've prioritized that as the next kind of set of enhancements on the roadmap here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I and I'm sure that a lot of our customers love about this is, and I think Jake has used this term before, but it turns the runner more into just plumbing, right?
Yeah,
you don't have to even think about it or know about it. It's just which highway do I need to take to get to that node, and it's runner 1 or runner 2. I don't need to know that. I just need to know that it got there and executed something. I think keen observers will remember some of this dynamic from a very early iteration of the runner, releases and versions. So we brought some of that back, but it's, just so much cleaner with this model.
awesome.
Yeah, what we regularly hear from customers is that regardless of their model of providing automation as a service to their end users, meaning some customers provide a lot of hand-holding, and they want to just make it so that users can just write their jobs and invoke their jobs. Other customers, the tool admin will be responsible for user access control and maybe some system level settings, but then each project is given to each team, treated like they have full control and autonomy over it. And when that's the case, we still see that there are project admins, so to speak, and then job users. And those job users, those everyday automation creators and invokers, they don't need to know about this plumbing, and therefore we want to make it much simpler for them. So the last piece I'll say here, for those that are existing customers that want to know, okay, how is this going to work with all of my jobs that currently have a runner selector in it? I'm using runner tags. Don't worry, we got you covered. What we have done here is, at the project level, allowed you to declare whether or not you want the runner selection for job execution to be dynamic or automatic, which is what we just showed, or to use the current mechanic, which is to manually select the runners that you want to use for a given job definition. And so on a per project basis, you can declare which behavior you prefer. Existing projects, when you upgrade to 5.5 and beyond, existing projects will have this manual selection. Any net new projects, however, will use the automatic, which you can see here. We recommend this. We think it's simpler. We think it's more intuitive. We think it covers, again, more of those production use cases. But we recognize there will be edge cases where customers want that level of control and flexibility on a per job basis. So,
yeah, one case that definitely comes to mind is just simply testing a particular runner, right? If you want to copy a job to another project and say, hey, I need to test this particular running this job. Maybe you're having a particular trouble with that. You can manually force it to run on that runner rather than letting the roads flow as they might.
Yeah, exactly. So that provides, again, our backwards compatibility, but also addressing those edge cases as well.
Awesome.
And last piece here that I'll say, again, talking about these different user profiles, if you will, we tend to think of our users in 3/4 buckets. There's a tool admin, there's a project admin, there is a job user, and that job user can be broken into a job author and a job invoker or a job runner, if you will. And with that in mind, these controls over which nodes a given runner is mapped to and whether it's added as a node, these are controls within the project level runner management, but they're actually not exposed to the system level. Our view here is the tool admin is not as concerned with how the runner is being used within the particular project. The tool admin is perhaps concerned with creating those runners, hosting those runners, making them available to the job admin, or sorry, the project admins. And even if a runner is shared across multiple projects, users still have control of this within their projects. We just say that if a runner is spanning multiple projects, users can't do anything to that runner that would impact how it's used across other projects. Only the tool admin can do that sort of thing. So we've really tried to think critically about how runners, again, can be dedicated or shared resources and what the right controls are in place. And we put a whole lot of new ACLs, access control list policies in place to allow for really granular fine-tuning control over who can do what with these runners, either at the project context or at the system level.
Cool. That was gonna be my next question, was like who should own these and how do they get organized? But that sounds great.
Awesome. Yeah, like I alluded to earlier, our customers, they land on a kind of a spectrum of who is managing these runners and to what degree are they managing them. And we are trying to accommodate, however customers want kind of to operate, whether it's, again, the system admin that's really providing these as a service, or they put it on like the project admin that might be a team lead or a principal automation engineer to manage the runners. And especially now with the project level runner management, we think we can accommodate that entire spectrum.
So could the actual runner instantiation itself show up in one project as a runner and on another project as like a managed node for like getting security update jobs and things like that?
If it's a runner that's shared across projects, it shows up as a runner within each project. So we can actually show that here. So in the system level runner management, we see that my US West runner is actually associated with 2 projects. So if I take a look at that, we see it's associated with these 2 projects. So if I actually open up this other project and I go into runner management, we see that US West runner here.
I'm not sure that your screen is changing.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's because it's the specific tab. I see. Wow. StreamYard is so sophisticated that way. Let's share an entire window. Okay. Let's run that back, shall we? If you go into system level runner management, And you look at your US West runner, we see that it's associated with 2 projects. And to answer Mandy's question, what that means is that it shows up as a runner both in my staging ops project and my Locutus project as well. And it can now be used however the users want within each of those projects. And you actually see here, this project doesn't have the automatic runner selection for job execution, which is why you don't see the runner's node and the node filter columns in the table here. But it can still be used as a manual selection runner in this project. But what you'll notice is like I can't delete this runner entirely. I can remove it from the project, but I can't change the runner's name or the tags. I can't delete it because it's being used in my staging ops project. Whereas this US East runner, it's associated with only this project, and therefore I can edit it or I can delete it entirely. And so that's again where we distinguish between a kind of a dedicated resource runner and a shared resource runner.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, that's all the questions I had. I don't see anything coming to us on LinkedIn today. There are a few people still out there hanging out with us, though. So yeah. So what's coming up next? What can we look forward to in future releases? Anything you can tease out?
Well, I think you already did it for us.
You spilled the
beans. Yeah, there will be a few more continued enhancements around the runners and their ability to scale and manage those. In addition, towards a little bit later this year, you're going to see more what we're referring to as content coming out, helping everyone understand different use cases that we've seen our customers implement. Ideally, we're going to be also including example jobs from that to learn from, or new or updated suites of plugins to address common use cases, etc. So that
sounds awesome.
That's coming. It's going through a variety of different phases. It's a very multifunctional project across the company, but those are a couple of the big things we're working on, as well as as I mentioned, I think a couple times, the view and UI enhancements. As we get closer to the end of that, we're looking forward to performance benefits and the flexibility it offers to start really addressing some other UI and design changes.
Awesome. Lots of stuff on the deck then. That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots on the deck for Rundeck.
Yes, lots on the Rundeck. Awesome. All right. Anything else to share with folks before we go? We all good?
So.
All right. Awesome. Thanks everybody out there for joining us. We'll be back again with a future release notes when things are ready to go. Happy birthday to Tiago, who's on holiday. So he's not with us. And for everybody else out there, we'll wish you an uneventful day, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.